Hello, gorgeous humans, and welcome to yet another platform where you're going to be seeing my face on a regular basis. If this is your first time running into my work, my name is Millie, and I'm a women's coach. I love coaching women back home to themselves, to their wholeness, to their security, to their body, to their confidence. I tend to work with women who have a history of anxious attachment, and together we move towards secure attachment within ourselves so that we can also create it, call it in, and thrive in it externally as well. Secure attachment is something that I really hope that we're all headed towards because it is magical, it is beautiful, and it is a place from which you get to give and thrive in your giving. And what happens when we thrive in our giving, when we're in love with our giving, is that we're open to receive so much, so much, so much, so much. Over on the other platform, I asked my audience a couple of days ago which topic you would like for me to cover first on this grand opening of the YouTube channel. And what got the most votes was breaking free from anxious attachment, which is not a surprise. I love working with women through this because the pure, beautiful, divine power that gets to be unlocked through understanding this and then applying it and then embodying it and just witnessing it in women is so. I think the best word that I ever use to describe this, the feeling that I get when I see women embody their power and their security and their confidence is that it nourishes my soul. It nourishes really, really deep parts of me. So if you have a history of anxious attachment, whether you are single or you are in a partnership, you're dating or not dating, doesn't matter. All of what I will share in this channel is going to be very applicable for you. In this first video, I want to introduce you to my approach and my philosophy of work and the way that I will always approach this work with women. And that's this very important first step of understanding that we must take radical responsibility for our patterns. We must understand that what is manifested in the external world, especially relationships in which we tend to get attached for prolonged periods of time, they're all manifestations of our inner world. You would not be able to attach for a long time to somebody who is avoidant if you were not avoiding yourself. The tricky thing about anxious attachment is that this person who is anxiously attached on the surface level or on the external appears as if they really want intimacy. They appear as though they're always, in this chase for intimacy and I want intimacy, I want security, I want partnership, right? But the truth is actually the opposite of that. All insecure attachment styles, all of them. So we know the popular ones, right? The avoidant attachment, anxious attachment, disorganized attachment styles. They all have the same root, or rather the same goal, unconscious goal. And that goal is avoidance of intimacy. Because you see, as long as you are, and I speak, just to interrupt that thought for a second, I speak about all of this from deep, deep personal experience. From personal experience in my life of being anxiously attached for many, many years. And then an experience from working with dozens and dozens of women on this. You would not be attached to an avoidant person if you were not deep down on that unconscious level if you were not avoiding intimacy. Unlike the avoidant person who's very clearly avoiding intimacy by avoiding you, the person who tends to attach more anxiously is actually avoiding intimacy with themselves, with their own fears, with their own parts that have been buried in the unconscious, that have been buried in the shadows. Every single one of us walks around this earth fragmented. We're born whole and then we fragment over time as the world tells us how we should be, what parts of us are not welcome, what parts of us are to be shamed, what parts of us are to be afraid of. So all of these parts of us that we or that society has somehow, or the family that you grew up in has labeled as not welcome, undesirable, they have all been buried in the shadows. And now we walk around with this make-believe personality, trying and attempting to hide all of these parts of ourselves. And we can dive deeper and deeper into these topics in different videos. Shadow work is also one of my absolute favorite things to do. But what happens in romantic partnership is that we have intimacy. And if you think of that concept of the mirror, you must have heard that your partner is your mirror. Your partner is literally a mirror of the things that you can't really see in here. Some things that you can see, but some things that you cannot. So if you think of the mirror, right, of an actual mirror in which you look at yourself and see your reflection, you know that the closer that you come to that mirror, the more intimate that your face gets with that mirror, the more you get exposed. Those blemishes are all of a sudden visible. Those hairs that maybe were not visible from afar, all of a sudden seem huge and black, and oh my God, what is this? Blemishes or birthmarks that could not be seen from far away, as you get closer and closer to the mirror, they are exposed. So you want to, I don't want to look at that. Move away so you can look prettier. This is what happens in relationships. The closer that we get to someone, the more exposed we get. The light and the dark. And so if we have not started to spend time and create intimacy, deep intimacy, with these parts of ourselves that have been buried in the shadows, that we are ashamed of, afraid of, and so forth and so forth, we are not going to let anybody get close to those parts either. We're unconsciously going to continue choosing partners that will play the push and pull game with us, because that ensures that these parts stay hidden away, that we never have to get exposed. And even if you do get exposed to somebody who is healthy and truly wants to love all of you, you will think that there's something wrong with them, that they're gross, and you will come up with a reason to push that intimacy away. You see, we only can actually get in life that for which we are prepared to receive. If you are not prepared to receive deep intimacy, you will reject deep intimacy while consciously still wanting it. So, as a person who has an anxious attachment style, your number one priority from this moment forward needs to be creating intimacy with yourself. And this especially goes, especially for those who are in a partnership and are getting triggered by a partner's avoidance. Being on the playing field gives you the most power to actually alchemize these wounds and to actually transform them into your power. You see, when we are triggered in relationships, we have an opportunity to create intimacy with these scared, anxious, insecure parts of ourselves. We can do absolute wonders when we're single as well. I mostly work with single women anyway, but this goes for everybody, whether you're in partnership or you are single and you're now wanting to prepare yourself and prepare your body, prepare and create an environment, an internal environment that will actually be able to invite deep intimacy. It's all possible. We can do a lot of work on our own, but the most important thing, I think there's a lot of women who have anxious attachment that have a hard time grasping this, is that it's not about the partner. It's not about the men. It's not about the dating pool. It's not about the lack of integrity in other people. It's not about any of that. It's about you rewiring your unconscious mind and your nervous system for deep intimacy, for the depth of intimacy that you desire to receive. And when you can do that work, when you can rewire your unconscious mind, when you can rewire your nervous system into deep intimacy that you crave, then what you will do naturally is you will reject everything that's not that. You will no longer have any interest in people who are avoidant. Avoidant men will not be on your radar. They will not stroke anything. They will not poke anything within you, because you have an environment that's made for depth and intimacy. And that's done when you can go deep within yourself. I'm not going to go too much deeper into this topic in this first video because I want to hear from you. I want to hear if you have questions. I want to hear your experiences. I want to hear more of what you want to know specifically about anxious attachment and moving towards secure attachment. Let me know in the comments. Also, I should mention, if you don't already know, I have a group program. It's called The Rise of the Feminine. It is starting on October 9th. There's still a little bit of time for you to sign up and join us. We're going to be together for 9 to 10 weeks. In a group setting, going really, really, really deep into all of this. Countless hours of videos, tools, PDFs, all sorts of things. If you have any questions about this program, please feel free to ask. I will also link all the information below the video so that you can check it out as well. Until next time, I'm hoping to hear lots from you. I would love to know if you have any questions on this.